This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Tuesday, February 28th, 2023. I'm Alex Brown. European automaker Stellantis is planning to invest $155 million in 3 of its facilities in Kokomo. The company said Tuesday the investment will fuel the production of a new electric drive module, which will be used in its battery electric vehicles. Stellantis, which is also building a $2.5 billion EV battery manufacturing facility in Kokomo, says the new investment will help retain 265 jobs across the 3 plants. The electric drive module includes the electric motor, power electronics, and transmission for the automaker's EV powertrains. The company said the gearbox will be cast at the Kokomo casting plant and machined at the Kokomo transmission plant, with the final assembly taking place at the Indiana transmission plant. Production is slated to begin in the third quarter of 2024. Indianapolis-based Studio Science has secured a growth capital investment from Inoka Capital Partners in Utah. While the specific dollar amount was not disclosed, the design and innovation consultancy said the funding will be used to expand its core business areas and add dozens of jobs. The Indiana Senate on Monday unanimously advanced a bill which seeks to form the State and Local Tax Review Commission to study the feasibility of ending Indiana's income tax and reforming property taxes for Hoosiers. Currently, 7 states do not have a state income tax. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Has your company grown at a rapid pace over the last 2 years? Nominations are now being accepted for Fast 25, IBJ's exclusive list of fastest growing companies in Central Indiana. Honorees will be spotlighted in a special publication in the IBJ and celebrated at an event on May 9th. Check out the changes to this year's criteria to see if your company qualifies. Learn more and submit your nomination by March 1st at ibj.com/nominations.
Indiana business and community leaders, you're invited to a roadshow unlike any other. IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation are joining forces for the Engage Indiana series, presented by Indiana University and Old National Bank. A focus on talent, education, and issues that shape our economy. 7 regional events, 1 shared purpose, advancing the future of Indiana. Discover more at ibj.com/engage.
Governor Eric Holcomb said today he strongly objects to the EPA's decision to transport hazardous materials from the East Palestine train derailment to a facility in western Indiana.
EPA officials said Monday that some of the contaminated chemicals from the site would be shipped to an incinerator in Grafton, Ohio, and a landfill in the town of Rochdale, about 45 miles west of downtown Indianapolis. While the route has not been announced, the nearly 400-mile journey to Putnam County would likely pass through Indy. Some of those materials have already been shipped to Michigan and Texas, but EPA officials ordered Norfolk Southern on Saturday to pause the shipments to give the agency greater oversight. The Putnam County facility is able to handle the materials as it primarily deals with industrial waste, said Dave Costin, Emergency Management Director for Putnam County. The landfill is operated by Indianapolis-based Heritage Environmental Services. Governor Holcomb also denounced a lack of communication from federal officials, saying he first learned about the shipment on Monday through a third party. In response, he directed Indiana Department of Environmental Management Commissioner Brian Rockensus to reach out to the federal agency. Holcomb said he also made a request to speak to an EPA administrator. When asked what the governor's office could do to stop the shipment, a Holcomb spokesperson deferred to the EPA. Wes Mills, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
The city of Terre Haute says the Indiana Department of Environmental Management has approved its action plan to deal with an accidental discharge of high-strength ammonia water into the city's wastewater treatment plant. The city says the ammonia entered into the municipal sewer system last Friday after being released from an unnamed source. It caused damage to the biological treatment used to clean wastewater. Terre Haute says the damage is not permanent. However, the ammonia did impact 7 of the 18 tanks the facility uses to treat wastewater. Our partners at WTWO-TV report officials from IDEM visited the city yesterday for an inspection and signed off on the utility department's response to restore operations to normal. The city says there is no danger to residential or commercial users or any environmental impacts on the Wabash River. Butler University has unveiled the winners of the annual Crossroads Classic Analytics Challenge, which saw teams from Butler, Indiana University, Purdue University, and the University of Notre Dame work to solve a real-world challenge using data. In this year's event, the teams were tasked with creating a model to help the Indianapolis Colts better predict the number of actual attendees for games at Lucas Oil Stadium. Butler senior lecturer Jason Davidson.
And all of the IP that was just presented on Friday, they're going to take that and actually deploy it in their business. So they're giving scholarship dollars to the students, but then also in return, they're getting a real world problem solved that they absolutely are needing. So it's really kind of a win-win.
Teams from Purdue and Butler took home a share of $10,000 in scholarships. Next year's event will be held on the IU campus in Bloomington. The Indiana Department of Environmental Management has extended the deadline to submit nominations for the 2023 Governor's Awards for Environmental Excellence. The awards acknowledge organizations that take steps and adopt projects that positively impact Indiana's environment. The deadline to nominate is now March 17th. IDEM says citizens, government agencies, businesses, organizations, and educational institutions are invited to submit nominations. Nominated projects must have occurred in Indiana and been implemented in 2021 or 2022. The projects must demonstrate measurable environmental, economic, and social benefits. Former Indy News anchor Fanchon Stinger is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.